I'm Monica Orozco, the Executive Director of Old Mission Santa Barbara.
I am Father Dan Lackie, and I serve as pastor at St. Barbara Parish at Old Mission Santa Barbara.
I'm Brother Mark. I'm the guardian here at Mission Santa Barbara.
And together we make up the executive leadership team. Old Mission Santa Barbara is a community of many parts but one spirit. The mission has served as a gathering place and spiritual home for many people since its establishment in 1786. Today, the mission operations include a museum, gift shop, church, cemetery and mausoleum, and several historic gardens, as well as being the home to a community of Franciscan friars on about 15 acres.
The mission is also home base for St. Barbara Parish, which operates under the auspices of the Archdiocese of Los Angeles. The mission is also home base for the Santa Barbara Mission Archive Library, which operates under the Franciscans as a separate nonprofit. The mission is also home base for a novitiate, which provides the first year of education for friars in training from across the United States.
The Franciscan friars have been here at the Old Mission since its founding in 1786. Presently, we're a community of 25 friars. Franciscan friars strive to follow the example of St. Francis and St. Clare. And we do that by accompanying people in a spirit of justice and peace. And Franciscans worldwide also want to promote care for creation.
The mission is an historical treasure and significant part of the Santa Barbara community and California history.
I'm Bryan Stevenson. I'm Collections and Program Manager at the Santa Barbara Mission Archive Library. The Santa Barbara Mission Archive Library is here on campus at Old Mission Santa Barbara, but sort of down at the far end from where we are standing now. The Archive Library is a research and an educational institution. We collect historical documents and manuscripts, many of which go back to the date, the founding of the mission in the 1780s. And I'm very excited today to be talking to you about a very important building on a very important date. We are celebrating the 200th anniversary of the Mission Church here at Old Mission Santa Barbara. As many of you know, on December 4th, 1786, which was the Feast of St. Barbara, Fray Lasuen founded Old Mission Santa Barbara, where we are standing here. The church that was built then in 1786 is not the same, however, as the church that is behind me. The church that is behind me is actually the fourth church that was built here at the mission. The first church that went up when Fray Lasuen founded the mission here was kind of like a log cabin. It was a very temporary structure. It was never meant to last very long. The next two churches that came after that first log cabin were made of adobe. We know about all of these buildings from looking at the annual reports that are found in the Mission Archive Library. Those adobe buildings, were needed to be replaced, first because the mission community just got larger and there needed to have more space, and again because there was an earthquake in December of 1812 that caused damage to buildings throughout Santa Barbara, but specifically here at Mission Santa Barbara, the church was damaged. And for the first few months after that earthquake, services and sacraments needed to be held sort of outside in a temporary structure. Once they were able to get that building repaired, they were then able to start having services back inside. But the friars decided that they wanted to build a brand new church, literally around the walls of that third church, that third adobe church. So in 1815, construction really got started in earnest. And it wasn't until, it took 5 years, and in 1820, the mission church was in a state to be able to be dedicated. And the mission church was dedicated on September 10th, 1820, 200 years ago. That building did look a little bit different from the one that's behind me, however, as that building only had one tower. The twin iconic towers that we're so used to didn't actually show up until 1833 when the second tower was built. September 10th, 1820 marked the celebration of the dedication in the Mission Church. We know all about this event because one of the sacramental registers for baptism that's in the archive library for Mission Santa Barbara has a lengthy account of the event that the friars recorded a couple days after the event. So they described how the Mexican governor of Alta California came as a sponsor of the event. There were soldiers from the Presidio who came. There were local people who were here. Native musicians and artists from as far away as Mission San Fernando came, as well as musicians and dancers from Santa Barbara and from San Ynez as well. They provided entertainment. There was food in abundance. There was brandy and wine for people to drink. There was a fireworks display, a mass, the bells were rung, there was a bullfight and a dance. It was a very large celebration. The building that was being celebrated is this one behind us, as I've said. The walls of the building were 5 feet thick and constructed of stone and mortar. If you look at the side of the church, you can see that there's a buttress there to hold up the weight of the walls because they're so tall and so heavy. The Chumash built the mission church. They did the art on the exterior and the interior, and they sort of literally built the mission around the walls of the third mission church. You can see on the top of the building there's a pediment, which is a sort of triangular architectural element. In the niche there is a statue of St. Barbara, and then you have faith, hope, and charity at the sort of 3 points of the triangle. Those statues were executed by a Chumash sculptor called Paciano, and they were originally painted. The interior of the mission church, when it was decorated, it was done so with plaster walls. The floor was a red polished cement that was made from oil and lime, and there were paintings and sculptures and decorations on the ceiling and on the walls as well. What's really interesting and unique about this is that the art on the interior is very unique, right? You take the sort of European images that the friars brought with them, and the Chumash took those and they created an entirely new sort of art form using the colors and the styles and the modes that they were familiar with. So you have all these beautiful floral designs and colors on the interior. You'll notice that the facade of the church is neoclassical in design. You've got that triangular pediment that I mentioned earlier, and you have these Ionic columns as well. Well, when the builders were sort of designing the facade of the church, they were using a book from the library as inspiration for how they wanted to make the exterior of the building look. When you look in a book that is now part of the collection of the Santa Barbara Mission Archive Library, this book is called De Architectura by Vitruvius. It's a classical work of architecture. You can see in the plates in the back what the facade of the church that we're familiar with would look like. There's another example. You can see those Ionic columns again. And then for those of you who have been into the interior and have seen the ceiling of the church, you'll recognize images of forked winged lightning that are on the ceiling. You can see those elements from the Book of Architecture from the Mission Archive Library. So you can see that sort of there's this conversation that's taking place between the books of the library, the Mission Church, and the Chumash artists as well. During her 200 years, Mission Santa Barbara has seen quite a bit. The flags of Spain, Mexico, and the United States have flown on the flagpoles. 2 major earthquakes caused extensive damage to the buildings. The 1812 earthquake that we've talked about that resulted in the construction of the beautiful church behind us, but also the 1925 earthquake that caused so much wreckage in Santa Barbara and extensive damage to the Mission Church as well. In addition to natural disaster, political and social turmoil have been going on, and all the while the Queen of the Missions endured. Now let's take a moment and talk to some community members about what the mission means to them.
I support our mission for 2 reasons. One, for centuries our mission has supported our community and done so much. For me to support them allows them to continue to support our community. Second, the beautiful facilities that we're sitting here. By supporting the mission, we can guarantee that the next generation will get to enjoy the beautiful mission as we have and all those that have come before us.
Well, the mission means to me, number one, the Franciscans. We've been in the parish for over 20 years, and we've had great experience with all the Franciscans that we've met and got to know well, especially in recent years. So that's a very important part of the mission to us, is that. The beauty and the history of the mission are also very important to me. And it's truly unique. There's so much to offer. There's so much that most people don't get to see. And lastly, but not leastly, it's such an important resource to the community that the mission is actually, I looked it up, Planet Where rates the mission the #1 tourist destination in Santa Barbara. So that's an important thing. When you have a city that's so well known for its tourism, that to have Santa Barbara Mission be the #1 attraction, that's a great responsibility, but I think the mission lives up to it well.
Well, we were married here, mostly because of the Franciscans and Father Virgil, because Father Virgil was such a humanitarian. I felt that the mission was always such a welcoming place for any denomination, or lack thereof, very welcoming. And I see that happening again in the person of Father Larry. Such a charming man, welcoming to all faiths, just a wonderful ambassador.
We support Old Mission Santa Barbara because it's a very special place where we exercise our faith.
It is a parish, it is a mission, it is a research library, it's a Franciscan home, and it's now the home for the novitiate in the United States. And it's also that I'm in such awe of the work of the Franciscans as they try to keep this place alive. This is the only mission that they founded and have been taking care since that day.
Because I believe in the mission of the Franciscan ministry. And in these difficult and divisive times, I believe we need to support the friars more than ever during this pandemic when the church itself is closed.
It's a symbol of faith, and as I said before, for any denomination, I think that at Mass, when anyone can go up and receive a blessing, non-Catholics can receive a blessing instead of the sacrament, I think that's such a wonderful way. I mean, it's such a beautiful building, but it represents friendliness and welcoming.
And it's a community center. If you say meet at the Old Mission, everybody knows where to go. They may not know where to go to meet somewhere on the beach, but when they say the Old Mission, they know where to go. And it's a sense of community.
Haku, what the mission means to me, it means a living legend, a memory, something that I can have throughout my life, and my ancestors are always with me here, and my children and future grandchildren will always have this as a memorial to them. So when I used to work here, when I come here, it's like coming home. It's not the same parents, but it's still home to me. So I hope that this mission will remain, and as our souls are remaining here, and hopefully my soul will be here also. So the mission is historically something that we built with our blood, sweat, and tears, and we love it. My family loved it. I can't speak for all tribes or all Chumash, but my mother has multitudes of writings in her journals, and there is not one word against the mission.
For me, I think simply the mission is our heart and soul of our community. Whether you come here to gather spiritually, whether you come here to be with your friends and family, whether you're here to celebrate a Santa Barbara tradition, it's the heartbeat of our community.
Hi, something that Old Mission Santa Barbara means to me is healing and transformation, especially. And in my own life, you know, when I first came here a year ago as a novice, I had a lot of healing, a lot of brokenness in myself that I needed to reconcile. And the brothers here helped create a space for me to reconcile these different parts of me, to be at peace with who I am, and more importantly, to evangelize that and let other people know about my story.
The mission means three things to me. First one is spiritual guidance, family support, and compassion. It's
a wonderful place of prayer, not just the parish, but the entire mission.
are very special because it brings me the memories back to when my mom used to take us to church in Mexico.
It is also a very special place because this is where our children were altar servers until they went on to university. They serve under Father Virgil, Father Benny, Father Morris, and Father Dan Barriga. It is also where, as a family, we've danced for 19 years in the mission steps for Fiesta Pequeña. It is where our son was married in 2013, and it's also where we will have our final resting place.
It's also very special because of my wife's involvement with the old mission, supporting the Franciscans, supporting the parish, and supporting the mission goals as a whole.
Old Mission Santa Barbara is my navigational beacon, which provides guidance, counseling, and support.
It means an awful lot, that's for sure. It means, though, preparation and change. Preparation meaning, the first time I was here was in 1956, 57, and I was certainly a young man at that time. And at that time, I was just entering. And so, it prepared me for the life that I was about to lead. So all till 1960 was all preparation work for the order. And so coming here, looking around, visiting the friars, etc., was an entry, and it changed my life quite a bit. The second time I came here was in 1963, immediately after Solemn Vows. And at that time, the Second Vatican Council was taking place, and there were a lot of changes in the church, in the order, all over, just a lot of changes. And at that time, just making solemn vows, it prepared me for a life of change as well, because now I was going to be in retreat work, I would be teaching, I would be in a parish, I'd be starting a house for the poor, etc. So it prepared me for that change. Coming back here again about 10, 12 years ago, it's preparing me for another change, and it's in the backyard. I believe I was asked to come here to work with the elderly and to be with them and to be the vicar of the guardian at the time. And so it prepared me for, and as I am preparing to go to the back lot, namely the cemetery, but it'll take quite a while to get me there. So that's pretty much, it's a lot of change, a lot of preparation work, a lot of love. It really taught me how to love.
About 25 years ago, I came to Mass, and I heard this wonderful music, and I was blown away. It really touched my soul. So to me, the mission is my place of spiritual renewal. 25 years ago, I actually found out I could be in the choir. So I said, okay, and I went up in the choir loft. Sister Teresa was the director back then, and she said, "Can you sing Happy Birthday?" I said, "Sure." So I sang for her, and she says, "Okay, good." She says, "Now, if you're going to be in this mission choir, you have to commit, because we're getting robes, and you're going to have to commit to that." So anyway, I think I'm the oldest person in the mission choir now. Unfortunately, we're not singing, and I miss it dearly. When I sing those spiritual songs, it does something to my heart, and that's why this place is very special to me.
We have two things going on. One that I've been involved with is the giving food to the needy. We're doing that on Tuesdays from 10 to 12 in the morning. And we've been going through a tremendous amount of produce, and there's many needy people in Santa Barbara, and we have a great group of people here that have volunteered and work that every Tuesday. So to me, that's really what the mission ultimately is all about. It's not necessarily going to church or praying or those kinds of things. Those are all important, but it's really what do you do? How do you extend your faith into the community, and what kind of impact do you have on the community? And then also, I think what the mission also does, it's a community resource as far as a location. Being the top tourist destination, we also make the mission available to various events such as Imanari, the Fiesta opening, the 4th of July art show, etc. And so these are important things that the mission is able to reach out to various nonprofits in the community and make people feel welcome and that this is a community resource.
Also, I was past El Presidente of Fiesta 2001. So we had the Misa del Presidente here, and it was actually our 25th wedding anniversary.
Roger would always say that, look, he said, for our 20th anniversary, I've had the biggest party put on for you in the whole town. Days of celebration. So it was a very special time, and it was lovely to have Father Virgil 25 years later. And it feels like it's part of my family.
I know one of the stories that has stuck with me especially is last year as a novice, I was really struggling to change for the better, realizing that the things that I made a part of myself ended up harming me more than they did any good, you know. And there's just a moment where I just I had actually broken down in tears, letting the brothers know my struggles and everything, and they were there for me 100%, and they were there for me every single step of the way, and I'm forever grateful for them, because without them I wouldn't be the brother that I am today.
My story is that when my mother died, Father Larry found out when the service was going to be, and to my very pleasant surprise, he showed up in Oxnard at Larry de Guadalupe and he celebrated my mother's funeral mass. The second story is that 5 years later, when my father died, my wife was assisting and volunteering at the office, parish office, and Father John and Father Larry somehow also found out that her father-in-law had passed. They themselves found out when the services was, and again, to our pleasant surprise, the funeral mass was in Oxnard and Our Lady of Guadalupe, and I was so thrilled to see Father Larry and Father John coming over and being part of celebrating my mother's funeral mass. I mean, that's compassionate.
Back in 2017, I had the honor of being La Presidenta for Old Spanish Days Fiesta. And one of the privileges you have is to select the theme for the year. And as I thought, what does Fiesta mean to me? What does Fiesta mean to our community? It wasn't words that came to mind. It was a person. It was the late Father Virgil. While the mission was his home for nearly 70 years, he was our longest serving board member at Old Spanish Days. He served from 1968 until his death in 2008. And he was not a board member in name. He was an active participant. He actively worked to put Fiesta on each and every year, especially when it came to La Fiesta Pequeña and opening night here on the stairs of the mission. And when he would be up on that stage, he often said these words that became very familiar to all of us, and they were so true to us, and probably even more so true today. And those words were unity through community. And so in 2017, I got to borrow Father Virgil's words, and once again we could reflect on all that he meant to our community and everything that he did, not just within the walls of the mission, but just as importantly, outside of the mission. Having been involved with the mission the last couple years, I see the tradition continue, the legacy continue, and the work that the friars do, not only inside the walls of the mission, but out in our community.
Not really. I mean, many little stories which I appreciate, but having lost my husband 3.5 years ago, following the last major fire in Mission Canyon, the old mission, the friars, and other friends have been my anchor. So let's all celebrate this 200th anniversary. And the friars have been here since day one. Let's show our appreciation for all the love and the outreach they extend to this community.
Well, we've spent a fair bit of time looking back at the gift that we have here at the Old Mission, and we've unfolded the present and the meaning of this place for so many diverse individuals and communities today. I want to say something about the future. Brothers and sisters, as I look back over this journey of 200 years from my perspective on the Leadership Council of the Mission, I see a work in progress. Yes, 200 years ago, this church was built, but that was the beginning of a long journey that was a work of art that was continually unfolding through the hands and the energy and the generosity of this community. The future, to me, is marked well by the lines of the frontal of that church. It's a place of beauty. It's a place of gathering. I see a place of hope, and I see a place of generative love planted in the midst of a community constantly threatened by forces of division, polarization, and unrest. Let's look to a future in this place marked by beauty, hope, reconciliation, and the guidance of the Spirit to new and abundant life for Santa Barbara and beyond. So, cheers to the next 200 years.
Old Mission Santa Barbara has been predominantly self-sufficient operation with about 85% of its annual revenue coming from the museum tours, the gift shop sales, and venue rentals. The mission does not receive state or federal funds, nor does it receive financial support from the Catholic Church. While housed at the mission, the Novitiate, St. Barbara Parish, and the Santa Barbara Mission Archive Library are all separate nonprofits. The mandated closure due to COVID-19 pandemic has resulted in a critical financial shortfall for the mission. Now more than ever, Old Mission Santa Barbara needs the help and support of our community. Despite measures taken to reduce expenditures and to diversify revenue, the mission is projected to have a shortfall of $1.5 million. Additionally, after 2 centuries of active use, the iconic mission structure and grounds require significant improvements and restorations. Without the mission and its unique artifacts, a significant piece of the cultural history of California and the Southwest would be lost. In an effort to secure long-term sustainability of this cultural treasure, we're launching a 3-year campaign for $4 million with an initial goal of $1.5 million to be raised by August 2021 to address our immediate financial need. The community support is critical for this campaign and will ensure the mission's dynamic future as the quintessential gathering place for Santa Barbara, a place for generations to come together, to celebrate, to mourn, to learn, and to share. Thank you for your support.
Spiritual.
Serenity.
Community.
Transformation.
Welcoming.
Historical.
Sacred beauty.
Special.
Love.
Home.